Most men were never taught how to love. They were taught to provide, to protect, to endure. But no one showed them how to be present, how to hold space, how to stay. And so they build a life that looks perfect from the outside. A house, a family, a routine. And still, their wife feels alone. And so do they. That feeling you can't name. That distance between two people who share a bed. That is not a marriage problem. That is a psychology problem. Carl Jung said it best. Asterisk, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Asterisk. What happens in a marriage is never really about the marriage. It is always about the man you haven't become yet. Where we use deep psychology to help you understand yourself, break your patterns, and heal from the inside out. If this is your first time here, subscribe. Carl Jung spent his life studying the hidden architecture of the human psyche. He believed that every man carries within him, not just who he is, but who he is afraid to become. He called it the shadow, the parts of yourself you buried as a boy, because the world told you they were weak. Your tenderness, your vulnerability, your need to be loved. And those buried parts, they don't disappear. They show up in your marriage. In your silence when you should speak. In your anger when you feel afraid. In your distance when she needs you close. A strong husband is not a perfect man. He is a man who has begun to face himself. These 5 things are not tips. They are not tricks. They are the psychological truths that separate a man who endures his marriage from a man who transforms it. Let's begin. He faces his shadow. You ever wonder why the smallest things cause the biggest fights? She says one wrong word, and suddenly you're somewhere else entirely. Cold, distant, or explosive. And you don't even fully understand why. Jung called this the shadow. The unconscious part of yourself that you have spent a lifetime trying to hide. Every boy is told, at some point, to stop feeling so much. Be tough. Don't cry. Man up. So you learned to bury the softness, the fear, the grief. But the shadow doesn't disappear. It waits. And the moment your wife triggers something you haven't healed, the shadow speaks for you. A man who has never looked at his shadow will spend his entire marriage projecting his wounds onto his wife. He will call her too sensitive when he is terrified of his own emotions. He will call her needy when he has never learned to ask for love himself. The strong husband does something terrifying. He looks in the mirror, not to judge himself, but to know himself. He asks, asterisk, what am I reacting to, and why, asterisk. He does not run from the darkness inside him. He names it. He owns it. He integrates it. Because the man who faces his shadow never makes his wife carry it for him. He holds space without disappearing. She is crying, and you don't know what to do. So you try to fix it, or you go quiet, or you leave the room. Not because you don't care, because no one ever held space for you either. Jung spoke about the tension of opposites, the push and pull inside every relationship, the need for closeness, the need for individuality. A weak man collapses one of those. He either loses himself completely in the relationship, or he walls himself off entirely. But a strong husband learns the art of presence. He doesn't need to fix her pain. He doesn't need to solve her emotions. He simply stays. He says, asterisk, I'm here. You don't have to carry this alone. Asterisk. This is not weakness. This is the most psychologically demanding thing a man can do. To sit with another person's pain, without running from it, and without drowning in it. The world tells men to be strong by feeling nothing. Jung tells us we become strong by learning to feel everything and staying anyway. The man who can hold space becomes the safest place in his wife's life. He continues to individuate. Marriage is not the destination. And here is where most men go wrong. They get the girl, they build the life, and they stop growing. Jung's central concept, individuation, is the lifelong process of becoming who you truly are, not who your parents needed you to be, not who society demands, not who your fear has kept you as. The real you, the full you. When a man stops growing, the marriage stops breathing. She doesn't just want a provider. She wants a man who is becoming. A man who reads, reflects, questions, evolves. A man who wakes up at 40 different from who he was at 30. A man who surprises even himself. Because here is the truth. A woman cannot respect a man she has already outgrown. And a man who is individuating gives his wife permission to individuate too. Two people growing together, not fusing together, not losing themselves in each other, but growing, side by side, toward something greater. That is not just a marriage. That is two souls on a shared journey. The strong husband never stops becoming. He integrates his anima. Every man has a feminine dimension within him. Jung called it the anima, the capacity for feeling, for intuition, for emotional depth. And most men have buried it so deep, they don't even know it exists. They were told, emotions are feminine. Vulnerability is feminine. Sensitivity is feminine. And so they cut off an entire half of their inner world. But here is what Jung understood. When a man is disconnected from his anima, he will seek it outside himself. He will project it onto his wife. He will expect her to carry all the emotion in the marriage, all the intuition, all the softness, and then he will resent her for it. He will call her too emotional, because she is holding all the emotion for both of them. A strong husband does the inner work of reconnecting with his own emotional world. He learns to say, asterisk I feel hurt. Asterisk. Not, asterisk you hurt me. Asterisk. He learns to say, asterisk I need closeness. Asterisk. Not, asterisk why are you always distant. Asterisk. He learns to feel his fear without drowning in it, his grief without collapsing in it, his love without needing it to look a certain way. A man in contact with his anima does not make his wife his emotional caretaker. He becomes her partner, and that changes everything. He takes responsibility for the energy he brings. You walk through the door, and before you say a single word, the room changes. Your wife feels it. Your children feel it. The tension in your jaw, the weight in your step, the silence that says everything. Men underestimate how much energy they carry, and how much of it they drop on the people they love, without realizing it. Jung understood that the unconscious communicates constantly, not through words, but through energy, through presence, through body. A man who refuses to process his inner world becomes a contaminating force in his own home, not because he is bad, but because he is unaware. The strong husband takes responsibility for what he brings into the room. He doesn't need to be perfect. He doesn't need to be cheerful. He needs to be honest. He says, asterisk I've had a hard day. I need 20 minutes. Asterisk. Instead of shutting down and making everyone tiptoe around him, he learns to name his inner weather instead of becoming it. Because awareness is not weakness. Awareness is the foundation of every strong home. The man who takes responsibility for his energy gives his family the greatest gift a man can give: safety. You came here looking for 5 traits, but what you found is something deeper. A man who faces his shadow, stops making his wife carry his wounds. A man who holds space, becomes the ground she can stand on. A man who individuates, keeps the marriage alive with becoming. A man who integrates his anima, stops projecting and starts connecting. A man who owns his energy, creates safety without a single word. This is not about being a better husband. This is about becoming a more complete man. Jung believed that the second half of life is about depth, not achievement, about soul, not status. And the greatest arena for that depth is not your career. It is the quiet space between you and the person you chose. The marriage you have right now is not a problem to be solved. It is an invitation to the version of yourself you have been avoiding. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to become. And the man you are becoming, your marriage has been waiting for him. I want to ask you something. Which of these 5 hit closest to home for you? Leave it in the comments. I read every single comment. If this video moved you, subscribe. We go deep here. Every single video. And if you know someone, a husband, a brother, a friend, who needs to hear this, share it with them. Sometimes the right words at the right moment change everything. See you in the next video.